I don't know if y'all seen, but people are losing their minds. People are losing their minds because Bad Bunny is going to be doing the Super Bowl halftime show. This is incredible. The level of upset. You ever see somebody get so mad that you're like, this is just weird? Like, not even, we're past like the levels of angry I expect you to get, and we're into a new realm where it knocks me out of even any sort of reactionary response. I'm more just like, are you okay? One time, I was at a McDonald's, right? And this dude, he must have wanted the pickles that come with the sandwich. They come with the sandwich. He got a hamburger, comes with a pickle. His hamburger didn't have a pickle. And I don't know what else was happening in his life. Maybe he usually handles disappointment very well. Maybe they caught him on the wrong day. Maybe they, you know what I mean? Maybe this man's been through a lot, and this is finally the thing that made him snap. This is possible. Everybody has their line. Everybody has their limit. And some people's limit, you wish that your limit would come when it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? You want your limit to come when something actually happens. You know? Like, you want your limit to come when it's like, maybe you've lost your job, you don't know what you're going to do next, rent is due, and your dad is passed, and it's just all happening at one time, and then you lose it. That's when everybody would understand you losing it. But instead of losing it when you're supposed to lose it, some people stay strong. They don't let on that they're about to lose it. And so then they go to McDonald's. And they order a burger. And then they realize the burger doesn't have a pickle, and then all the injustice in the world comes out. All at once in this McDonald's. And so now you're screaming in front of a bunch of strangers because you don't have a pickle. And we all know that you don't have the pickle, not because you opened the sandwich to check, just in case you were like, hey, is the world fair today where there'll be a pickle on my sandwich? No, you know there's not a pickle because you ate half the sandwich and you haven't hit pickle yet. And so you finally open the sandwich, just give it a look. Be like, maybe this is a slippery one. Maybe this pickle's sneaky. You know, they supposed to put it on top of the cheese before the bun, maybe under the condiments, but maybe this one, oof. Maybe this one's sneaking in there between the meat and the cheese. Who knows, right? And then you open the sandwich, you realize you've had no pickle. You realize you've been looking forward to pickle this entire hamburger, and it was never going to come. It was never going to come. It was never going to come. Just like your job isn't coming back. Just like... No, it's all coming back in real time. It's like the pickle is almost this unintentional metaphor. Like the pickle is missing the way your father is missing in your life because he's gone now. And so you just start letting it all out. It just comes out. You start screaming at someone behind the counter who is 17. Just someone who is beginning their life. Someone who has the whole world ahead of them. And you used to have the whole world ahead of you as well. But then life happened and it came at you so fast you weren't sure what you were doing when you were doing it. And so now at home you have somebody that you're married to that like y'all are almost like strangers passing in the hallway, and you have 2 kids but you don't really see yourself in them at all. And so now you wonder if maybe you were too hard on your dad and you wish you could tell him that, but he's gone. And so is the pickle. The pickle's not in there. The pickle is supposed to be here, right? And that's why you end up screaming at this 17-year-old at the top of your lungs to the point where people are recording you on their phone, which is never great. Your life never gets better after that. That's never the beginning of something wonderful. It means you're probably about to lose the next job before you even get it because you've lost your job and you're going to apply for more. You might even apply here. They won't hire you. But the next job you apply for, they're gonna look this up. They're gonna put your name in Google, and then this video will come up of you screaming at this 17-year-old that you accidentally called dad. And that's a tough part about not snapping at the right time. If you had snapped 15 minutes ago at home, everybody would get it. Somebody might even hug you. But now you're in McDonald's and they're just calling the police. Oh. No, it's tough. It's tough. What I'm trying to say is people have snapped over Bad Bunny doing the Super Bowl halftime show, a no pickles in my hamburger at McDonald's amount. And it's stressful to watch. I understand why the NFL is doing. The NFL is trying to expand its reach and everything. What better way than with Bad Bunny? But Bad Bunny is over here, like, he's defiant in a way that I think is very special. Because Bad Bunny is doing this, like, record-breaking tour right now. And he's not doing it in the U.S., you know? And I think a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people are like, they're like, why won't he come? Why won't he do MSG? Why won't he? And it's like, and you know, he's been asked about it in interviews, and he said a couple things that also are gonna irk exactly who he's trying to irk. Because they asked him, like, why aren't you touring? We looked at the dates. Where's Chicago? Where's LA? Where's New York? You know? And why aren't you touring in the US? And then he said, because it's just not necessary. Not necessary to tour in the center of the universe, according to us. Not necessary. Ooh, that was a gut punch. Not necessary. Don't worry, I'll be making plenty of money around the world. You know, the rest of the world. Like, literally. And other people ask him. And he was like, hey, look, I don't do shows here right now because I don't need ICE hanging outside of my shows trying to do some sort of sting or something like that. I want my people to be safe and everything. In fact, if you want to see me bad enough, I'll be doing a bunch of shows in Puerto Rico. You can come to Puerto Rico. And plenty of people were like, Puerto Rico? Where's that? Because it's actually terrifying. It is like bone-chilling scary how many people who live in the U.S., like U.S. citizens, that don't know what land the U.S. has. It's like, I don't know what civics class or what is it just geography? How are we failing the youth and the elderly? Like, it's like, because it's not like you can just blame it on the kids. Grown people also don't know. This is crazy. All right, look, just bring it up to speed, okay? Real quick. And I'm not judging anybody because I might even have the dates wrong, okay? But in 1898, at the end of the Spanish-American War, America got Puerto Rico. So already, territory, Puerto Rico, right? 1917, Puerto Ricans gained U.S. citizenship. 1952, Puerto Rico became like a sort of commonwealth, which I guess a lot of people miss because, like, we don't have a king, or we didn't have a king, or like whatever. But like, just like Simple. That's the status. So if you are Puerto Rican, you are a U.S. citizen, okay? And that is also why when people were upset, they were like, why can't somebody from America do the halftime show? And look. Listen to me. The people screaming that are coming from a very specific place. They have watched the Super Bowl religiously, and the last few years have watched it get blacker. And I understand. After Kendrick, they were like, it's black now. Is it finally black enough? You blacked it. You did it. It's been blacked. All right? That's enough. It's been black, and I watched it. I didn't get it. But it was black, and you had it. Can we have one? Because I don't think you're going to get blacker. So it's got to be our turn again. And they thought, surely, their time was coming. You know? After Kendrick, next one got to be... You know what I mean? Yeah. Next one got to be the one that does that song with the twang to it that you really like. Gotta be. Come on, we even look. You did it. So I did all that rapping. I let rapping in my house just because it was a Super Bowl halftime show. That's as black as it's gonna get. I refuse to let it get any blacker, all right? These people were like, it can't possibly get blacker. And then they were like, all right, I'll raise you no English. Oh, you think you're mad now. Ooh, we gonna make you pray for Kendrick. We gonna make you... Ooh, Kendrick, please hit us with some symbolism. I don't even understand what's going on now. Oh, no, this is so funny. They're so mad. They're mad in a way that's like... I don't even know, like even if I wanted to help, I wouldn't even know where to start. Because what are you so mad about? It's like, because it's Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl, it's not Spanish Bowl. It's Super Bowl. What's next? I love what's next, by the way. People love to take a thing that's actually happening and then do a hypothetical that'll never happen off of what's next. You see Bad Bunny's doing a Super Bowl halftime. What's next? You gonna make Superman Mexican? That's what's next. That's definitely gonna happen. What's next? What's next? You know what I mean? What's that? Because it's scary. It's scary, you know? You watch the Super Bowl halftime show, these people might, by accident, learn some Spanish. Then what's next? If I learn the Spanish, what's next? If I learn the Spanish, what happens then? Because if I learn the Spanish, then when people are speaking Spanish, I'll know what they're saying, and there's no way they're saying anything nice about me. But no, people losing their minds. I can't believe it. Spanish? He's gonna speak Spanish? I'm gonna have to sit there and listen to somebody sing and rap in Spanish? I already had to listen to rap. You know what that was like for me? You know what that was like for me to hear rap in between the game I bet on? I'm gonna have to sit there and listen to somebody Spanish. I'm gonna have to sit there listening, watching the Super Bowl halftime show to Spanish. I'm gonna have to sit there with my guacamole and my chips in my lap, listening to Spanish. I am gonna have to sit there while I eat the tacos that I Uber Eats to my place, listening to Spanish. The idea that I could have a deluxe crunch wrap and have to listen to Spanish is crazy. Not in my America. Spanish? Are you serious? Can't believe I'm gonna have to listen. I want all the Spanish in my mouth. I don't want it in my ears. Which is like pretty much been the approach of a large portion of the U.S. for a long time. So much of the culture, so much of what people like about a culture that they're willing to take in, they try to do as best as possible to the exclusion of the people that the culture is actually from, right? So you'll see how people of Latin descent have been treated in this country the entire time while we fall in love with more and more of their stuff. You know what I mean? And it's something that obviously happens to black people. It's something that's happened to Asian Americans and everything, but it's something that doesn't always get addressed is that if you loved what we make, then just love us. We made it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing to love almost every aspect of a culture and then meet the person who created that culture and be like, I don't know if I trust you though. I just kind of want all your stuff at my house. It's like, oh, I love that thing that you do. I'd probably just take it. What if I took it and then pretend it was mine? Wouldn't that be dope? What if I take it so hard that one day I tell you about it? No, I tell you about it and then I tell you you're doing it wrong because it's actually... No, what if you have your entire culture with a different understanding of everything, a different understanding of the world because it's from a different lens and it's also from perspective of a people who have built a very rich heritage and everything. And what if one day I stop by and I'm like, oh, that looks cool, I'll take some of that. And then when I say it back to you and you're like, that's actually not how you say it, I'm like, I think I know how to say it. All right, I'm very familiar with the Latin X culture, all right? Huh. Please, that's sweet of you to try to help me, but I'm well versed. Oh. Thanks. That's wild, because that was the laugh. All right. No, because you see, Bad Bunny moves in a way that's very intentional, and he has the loyalty of his fans and his people because of how he moves. Because there are plenty of people that truly, and I'm not saying this from a place of judgment. I'm saying it just from noticing. There are people who truly forget where they come from as soon as they get success. It is a very, sadly, once again, it's a very American mindset to have that as long as you get taken care of, as long as you're okay, you can leave whatever behind, and you're out now. And you're out, you made it out. And then you start to rationalize in your head, well, if I made it out, then people just have to do what I did to make it out. I'm not special. Then they'll be able to take care of themselves. And then all of a sudden you're gone. And there's not a real building of community. There's no upward mobility for the people around you. You just up and went, right? And look, it's also a very hard thing to do to try to bring everybody with you. Plenty of people have gone bankrupt trying to do so. You see us like, and I've done it from time to time. I'm not innocent of this thing. So once again, I'm not judging. But you see us with entertainers and athletes, we'll judge them for like going broke quickly, and we always make the assumption it was because they made stupid decisions. Maybe they bought one chain, and then we're like, well, they were out here buying chains, and so now they're broke, and so. But more often than not, what happens, and what a lot of people don't talk about, what a lot of people don't give them credit for, is one of the reasons that they went broke is that this new money, it's a lot of money, but this new money tried to bring everyone with them at the same time. We're not able to set up systems for everybody to succeed. And so then everybody was broke in like 5 years' time. It's because of their heart that they were broke. It's because of their intention to try to bring everybody with them that they aren't in some mansion somewhere, Essentially, you had something like that happened to MC Hammer. There were a lot of people that hear how much money MC Hammer made and then how much he lost, and they thought to themselves, oh, he must have been balling out or something. He probably deserved to lose all that money. Then you hear interviews with MC Hammer. He talks about his business and everything. He talks about the people that he hired. This man hired family. He hired friends from the hood. Just try to give them jobs, either to keep them out of trouble or just get them some money because he knew that they would do the right things with their money. But he's one man. He's one man, and eventually you can't have all these people on the payroll. You can't have all this money going out when not enough is coming in, when not enough is coming back, and so eventually you do lose everything. So it's an admirable thing, and it's a smart thing to say, hey, if you want to see me, come spend your money here. Come to Puerto Rico. You can come do the shows. Anybody can come. We'll have a good time here. You see Bad Bunny thinking ahead. I'm not going to do shows in a place that has these like ICE raids and everything. Because also in Chicago, there was an ICE raid of this apartment complex. And in the apartment complex, they grabbed everybody. They grabbed everybody in the worst way. They zip-tied kids. They zip-tied kids. Some kids, scared, crying, terrified. Nobody knew what was happening. They entered the building with flashbangs and everything, all because they said that they were there for, I think, like 6 members of some gang. Trend Aragua. I'm trying to pronounce it the way the president pronounces it. Trend de Aragua. They were there for them. And look, I don't even know if that's true because apparently they didn't show anybody any warrants, So maybe that's just something they said for later after they went ahead and did the raid. But they zip-tied, they held black and brown people alike, And that's the other thing. It's like pretending that somebody's fight is not your fight is only going to work for so long. Like pretending something is not your problem will make it your problem very soon. Because already Supreme Court has pretty much ruled that ICE can profile so they can grab who they need to grab, right? And it's like, okay, well, what does an American look like to the people who are grabbing people? You know what I mean? Because, I don't know, I feel like I have some pretty good diction. But I could probably still get zip ties. You know, if we're going off of looks, it won't really matter that I'm like, sir, please, I'm an American citizen. Because you see what's happening. You see what's happening now with ICE in Chicago. You see what's happening even with the announcement that Bad Bunny is going to be doing the Super Bowl. You have, what is it, Corey Lewandowski saying that ICE is going to be at the Super Bowl as well. And it's like, all right, but what's the point of that? What's the point? Because you know all of the criminal illegal aliens, because that's what this is supposed to be about, right? You know all the criminal illegal aliens every year that score tickets to the Super Bowl. You know. You can't swing a stick without running into a criminal illegal alien with Super Bowl tickets. You know criminal illegal aliens love the Super Bowl. They love rolling up to the Super Bowl. Got my tickets right here. And no other form of identification. You know criminal illegal aliens. They can't stop going to the Super Bowl. In fact, every year I'm like, when are they going to do something about these criminal illegal aliens enjoying the game while I'm sitting at home because the tickets are like $10,000 just to see? Can't stand criminal illegal aliens having all the money and using it on the Super Bowl. That's an irresponsible purchase. You're not even supposed to be here, Mr. Criminal Illegal Alien, and you going to the Super Bowl instead of hard-working Americans that can't afford to go to the Super Bowl. And we should know that, like, no one is coming to save us in that way. This is everybody's problem, and there's not enough of a travesty. There won't be enough rights that are violated. There won't be enough unconstitutional things happening that's just going to make the people doing it go, whoops. That's not going to happen. They're not just going to stop. You know, they zip-tied kids. Kids who were born here. Because this was never about what they said it was about. You know? I look at ICE the way I look at, like, season 6 of Ghost Hunters. You're looking, but you're not going to find what you're looking for because you made it up, you know? It's a very scary thing. Because don't get me wrong, look, plenty of ICE agents are over here masked up, top to bottom, can't identify who they are. It's not like they're wearing a badge. It's not like they have their name, you know, all over them or just on the front or anything like that. And some of them clearly built like stormtroopers. And then some are built like mall cops. Like there's a couple, I don't know if you saw that video of that young man that was running from ICE and hopped on his bike and rode away, but at a certain amount of running, you have to accept that you didn't catch the person. And as someone who had friends that got into trouble, I've watched my fair share of mall cop chases. And And these mall cop chases, you know, I don't have them on my phone. They're from memory. They're up here. But they usually start a similar way. They usually start with, what's that? What'd you say to me? And then, just far enough away, they say it again. And so then, mall cop leans forward, and then whether you're on your skateboard or you're on foot, you start making some moves. And as you run, they run. And when they run, they realize they shouldn't run. It's a battle. It's a battle for them to run, and you can tell because the kick. Okay, I'm not a runner. I'm not an athlete in that way, but I'll tell you right now that like, okay. When you watch runners, when you watch like, you know, like a Usain Bolt, like an Olympic runner, and they start off and they have, you know, a foot up and everything, got the foot up, hands down, looking up, and then I don't know why they put the butt up. You see they put the butt up and they're down, but then they're like, ugh. I know this isn't true. I knew this isn't true, but when I was little, a friend told me that they do that so that they can fart before they run. It's clearly not real. But he's like, no, you don't want that air getting out and it knocking you off course. It didn't sound true when I was 7, but I did believe it for like 2 years. Because I was like, they do it every time. I don't know. They, you know, get down, they get up, they do that thing. I'm not doing it right. They do that thing. And then they fire off the gun, and then they're like sliding at first, and then they just shoot off. They're running so fast, right? And when a mall cop starts to run, it's similar but different. Because he will do this. But that's because he almost fell. He got knocked off balance reaching for you. All right? So now he... And then he does like kick up a little bit. That is a fart. And then he starts to take off and chase you. The problem is, I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens when you take up the badge of mall enforcer. I don't know what happens to your right foot. I don't know what happens to your left foot. But they stop speaking to one another. And in these mall cop chases, I've seen plenty of them kick off, up. Into a food court table. And that's what it looked like, because my man kicked off on the bike and he wasn't even pedaling fast at first. Still seemed like he was talking. Do you know how embarrassing that is to run after somebody who isn't even breaking enough of a sweat to stop talking to you? And then they also ran after this man for too long. At a certain amount of somebody getting away, you gotta just let them get away. The clip became more embarrassing because they kept running. I'm like, now he on the bike, now he pedaling. You didn't catch him when he was pushing a bike. You're not gonna catch him when he's on a bike. There's a huge difference between those two things. Pushing a bike, he all encumbered. He gotta figure out when to like throw the leg over and everything. Now he's on the bike, he's gone. He's gone. The only thing that could make that video more perfect is that dude, And he pedaled all the way to the Super Bowl halftime show. Anaheim, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Dallas, Texas, please make some noise for Josh Johnson.
It is crazy to me that everybody, no matter who you are a different person to everybody that you know. Like, we have the idea in our heads, we understand that we're different to our parents than we are to our friends, than we are to our coworkers. But I mean, like, every single person. Just because of when we meet each other, how we meet each other, what we mean to each other and everything. I have a friend from growing up. His name is Squish. And Squish got his name because he's pretty accident prone. In fact, the way I met Squish was he was walking and this kid was in the cafeteria and he stepped on a pickle. And this kid flew. He stepped on the pickle like he stepped on a Hot Wheel. I didn't know pickles had that type of movement. The pickle didn't even disintegrate. He just stayed on it perfectly, like a roller skate, and couldn't stop himself like a Looney Tune. One leg in the air, one leg on the pickle, and couldn't seem to get off. And he was screaming the whole time. Ah! This man was Janelle Monáeing across the floor in a panic. Ah! And this kid slid into some trash cans hard. And so I run up, some other kids run up, and from then on he was known as Squish. And Squish is, some of his accidents aren't even his fault. Like, we had a classroom fish. Was floating in the tank, swimming around and everything. And, you know, it was a different person's turn to feed the fish every day. And whoever fed the fish last didn't close the slide in the top of the tank back. And so the fish popped out of the tank, landed on the floor, and was bouncing around a little bit. And Squish just happened to be walking by. And we all screamed. We were like, no! And he was like, what? Squish's number one accident that solidified his nickname and his understanding to us as a clumsy person actually happened on a field trip to Dallas. Yeah, so we were all hanging out, getting some food, because the field trip was like all planned out. We had a thick itinerary, and so we got to have lunch at this Italian place, and Squish got some spaghetti to go as well. And of course, throughout the course of us walking around, he trips and falls on his spaghetti. But he doesn't just trip and fall on the spaghetti. He manages, normally when you fall on to-go plate, it stays where it is. This kid fell and somehow managed to get all of the spaghetti from his stomach to the top of his head covered in marinara sauce. It was like there was more marinara sauce on him than there was in the to-go plate. And unfortunately, it was a field trip to the book depository. So if you were passing by, all you saw was a kid covered in marinara and spaghetti on his head going, help! I remember when Squish got married. I remember when he had a kid, And I remember when his wife told him. And is wild because when she told, I wish he had been doing a bit or something, just making a cute little joke for the two of them. But she said, we're pregnant. And without missing a beat, he went. Because now Squish has a kid, and this kid calls him Dad. That's wild to me. It's wild that the people that I grew up with are upgrowing people. That feels crazy. That genuinely feels unacceptable. That the people that I grew up with are making new people that don't know what they're like. Because I know these people. This kid calls Squish Dad. I'm like, oh, that's not Dad, that's Squish. No, you weren't around, but... No. And I'm thinking about it so much because I am older now than my parents were when they had me. And it sort of recontextualized every memory. Because every year that I get older and I'm just going about my life, I think about how they were the age that I am now, but with me. I'll have a bad day and think, oh, this is the worst, and not thinking about how they used to hang out with me, but not when I was like fun. They had to hang out with a version of me that couldn't read. So you're already having a bad day, and now somebody that can't read is making it worse. You picking them up from school, they sitting in the back all, and now you have to try to figure out what's wrong with somebody who can't read. Because they won't tell you, one, because they're a kid and they're being all secretive and everything, but also because they can't read, so they don't even know the words to describe what they're feeling. You gotta do charades to see what's wrong. That's tough. You know, like I think back how my mom, a lot of the moms of the kids that I went to school with, like when you're a parent, I can't imagine being a parent. I cannot imagine being a parent right now, being a kid right now. I feel like I barely did all right with what I had, you know what I mean? When I was growing up, because I have a lot of empathy for the people who are trying to like raise a good person, doing your best to just make a good person. And the way I look at it, the way I look at life lessons is a lot like lunch. Because, you know, as the parent, the person who has knowledge, the person who's trying to do what's best for your kid, you can make them the best lunch possible. And when I say the best lunch possible, I mean like actually everything that they need. There's vegetables, there's fruits, there's some protein in there. You go ahead, you got the fiber. Everybody forgets the fiber. You gotta get your fiber. You don't want to be full of protein and no fiber. You just be sitting there stuck. You did everything. You got vitamins and minerals in there. You got things, keep them hydrated, give them energy, make sure the bones grow, make sure the brain's healthy. You did everything. And then you send them to school with that lunch. But then it's up to them. Once they're not around you, you don't know. You have no idea. You know, maybe they're going ahead and they're taking out like the one sweet thing in that lunch, and then they just dump out the rest. I went to school with a girl just like that. She loved lunch. Lunch was her favorite because she was a wheeler dealer. She was a broker at lunch. I've never seen anybody finesse like this before. She would start lunch with one snack pack. She would end it with 16 cookies. And we would all have been had and we didn't understand how. We all just sit here, no treats, because she had mixed us up so much. She was the only person I've ever seen in my entire life during lunch going ahead and selling cookie futures. She was over here like, you know I'm good for a snack pack every day, all right? So you give me the cookie now, I'll give you a snack pack tomorrow. Now, that snack pack, you're going to keep it for a little bit, but you know he's going to have M&Ms on Thursday. And she did this every day. Every day she finessed the entire class out of everything. And her parents made her a good lunch, but just, we're not really trying to hit that celery right now. Not when we got delicious brownies homemade. And after a while, it took some time, but after a while she showed up to school and she had this rash and she was always tired and stuff. And we found out later that her parents had to take her to, the doctor, and she had scurvy. In the modern age, it is damn near impossible to get scurvy because every day, even by accident, you slipping into vitamin C. You know how many treats you gotta be eating with nothing good to hit the scurvy? This little girl had scurvy, like a Caribbean pirate. Because her parents were doing their best for lunch. They prepared her as best as possible. They gave her everything good. But then when you're around your friends, when you're alone, a parent can't know what's going to happen after that. Like, there's a show on Netflix called Adolescence. And I watched it. And I think it is a very well-made show. Out of all the critiques I've heard about the show, and there are plenty, I have not heard anyone say that the acting isn't phenomenal or that the camera work isn't incredibly interesting, But it's a tough watch, and it's heavy, and it brings up a lot of things I think are important to talk about because it's sparked all these conversations online. It's the most watched English-speaking show in Netflix's history, and there are people being like, oh, finally we're discussing the way that misogyny has creeped in online into every facet of society. And then there are other people being like, no, it's a moral panic. Like, these things are bad, but we're blowing it out of proportion. And so that discussion I do feel like is important. And only one person, this was one woman I was talking to that was like, it's my favorite show of all time. And I was like, ugh. Favorite all time ever? Did you watch the whole thing and that's your favorite thing you've ever watched? I'm not judging, I'm just saying that's a lot like being like, my favorite place to go is the dentist. It's like, all right, I mean, it's good that you went, but just you telling me that makes you feel good? You love that? You love somebody just playing in your mouth like that? Quizzing you while flossing you? That's your favorite thing? It's just as odd to me. Teach their own. But I do think it's really important that we have these conversations, and it started making me think about my own life. When I was little, I didn't even know what it would mean to have a girlfriend, really. And I only think I thought about girlfriends because adults would like pitch me on the cheek and be like, oh, you're so cute, you must have a little girlfriend. You got a little girlfriend? I'd be like, nah. You're not around the rest of the time. I'm actually quite a lot. But there was someone who I used to eat lunch with for a little while there. And sometimes we'd eat lunch for the whole period of lunch, and sometimes she would just come over, to make sure we chatted before lunch was over. And we would always split my cookie, right? I'd break my cookie in half and we would chat. And I knew that I got to do every day at school my two favorite things, which was talk to her and eat cookies. And so she'd come over, we break bread, cookie bread, we break bread and everything. We talk about all sorts of stuff. And I didn't know what it would be like to have a girlfriend, but I knew if I was gonna have a girlfriend, it would be her, right? This is who I like talking to. It's who I like spending time with. It's the only person I'll share my cookie with. And one day, I was walking to the monkey bars, get some swings in. It was good to get the shoulders working. And when I got up to those monkey bars, I wasn't right up on them. I was still at a distance, but I saw her kissing a boy. And I was distraught. I saw them kissing. I was like, no! I didn't even think of kissing! Is that what boyfriends and girlfriends do? Hey, we little, so they not even really kissing. They more just butting heads and everything. But even so, I was torn up. I was like, no! We share cookies every day. She get my cookie crumbs all on his lips. And I didn't go up to the monkey bars. I went to the little castle that we had on the playground, and man, I cried. I was torn up, and I didn't know what to do in that moment. I didn't know how to fix the way I was feeling, and it felt like I had done something wrong, even though it was just life happening. This person was still someone who I liked very much, but I was like, no, what to kiss? Did the cookie mean nothing? I was so torn up. When we went back to class, I couldn't even learn. Teacher sitting there with a word problem. Simple word problem, trying to get me to hit that 3 + 4, and I was like, 3 kisses plus 4 kisses is 1 broken man. And I think it's the discussions that are arising because of the show, I think are important because whether it feels like it or not, we are all each other's responsibility. And I think that there's something happening, and it's happening to young men, it's happening to boys, where these things online, whether it's, whatever, red pill, manosphere, whatever you want to blame, there's a certain rhetoric that at least fills in some blanks and tells you this is the way that the world is, this is how you fit into the world. And it's an assuredness that the people around you don't seem to have. Because when that happened, when that kiss happened, when you're a kid, you see things in black and white. You haven't lived long enough to find nuance in between every experience. And so I didn't see that as like, oh, this is my friend, but she happens to like this person or also like this person or like this person more. I internalized all of it. I was like, no, she likes him because I'm ugly. That's gotta be what it is, right? Or she hates me and she likes him. Everything has to be very distinct. And that's tough. I think it's something that we would hopefully be better at recognizing, because it's the same thing that happens to young women. Like when I was a kid, especially when I got to be a teenager and stuff, I was angry. I had all the regular problems. It wasn't like anything extra was happening. But one time an adult sat me down that I was talking to for a long time, and they said something that stuck with me ever since, because I was just telling them how I felt about everything, about how I felt about myself and the world and the people around me, and it all stemmed into this one question. They were like, who taught you to hate yourself? And I couldn't answer it. Because the truth is that I don't know if it's that explicit, and I don't think that it needs to be. When you're young and you're just trying to make your way through the world, I think it's a balance that gets created with the people around you and with yourself, and it's easy to tip, you know? I don't know if anyone was running up to young women specifically making sure that they felt like they were ugly. They just told them that everything that wasn't them around them was beautiful. And so then you have something very similar happening to young boys right now that's coming from all these different directions. And I don't think it should ever be a contest. I know one thing impacts another thing, and there are people that when someone is hurt, they become hurt too as a result. But I think that it's not really about who has it worse when we all have it bad. Sometimes when somebody's going through something and they're open about it, if it's not the person that we decided to band around, right? If it's like a unique person going through something and they're sharing it, sometimes the response, instead of being empathy, is almost backlash, right? They're going through something and they're being open about it, and people are responding with like, oh, boo-hoo, you'll be fine, it's all good, right? But this person is coming to you earnestly, and they're going through something, you know? Like, we don't really, if I'm being honest, we don't really talk about the like body dysmorphia that a lot of men have. There are men packed into gyms trying to look like the action figure. Meanwhile, the action figure doesn't look like a person. Like, that's not, like, your knees aren't supposed to be as big as your head. You're just never gonna get there. That's not how people are built. No one does that. You know? And even more than like body dysmorphia in men, the thing that I don't think I hear anybody talking about is strength dysmorphia. I know a lot of men, good men, who have looked at a box or a pool table or a TV and thought to themselves, I can pick it up. We are losing more backs in this country to men's strength dysmorphia than anything else. Strength dysmorphia is the #1 cause of hernias in men. Because then you'll try to help. You'll try to be that person, to be there for them. Be like, hey, wait until we can get some help. Don't do it by yourself. And they'll be like, you don't think I can pick it up? And you're like, it's not about me. Your knees don't think you can pick it up. Your legs don't think you can pick it up. Your back doesn't think you can pick it up. Your glutes don't think you can pick it up. One time I was on a road trip with some friends, and we heard it when the tire popped. We heard it immediately. So we pull over, right? And our friend who was driving, it's his car. He had everything ready to go. Had the spare tire, everything to change the tire, except he forgot the jack. So then our friend Jack says to us with a straight face, all right, everybody just, y'all get in position and everything, get ready to change this stuff, and I'll just pick it up and y'all change it, I'll put it back down. I had questions. I was like, pick up what, change what? He was like, no, look, y'all pick it up and, you know, start changing, I'll put it back down. It may take us a couple tries, but we'll get there. There are two types of people who can pick up a car. One are strong men. And by strong men, I don't just mean men that are strong. I mean actual competitors, like strong men. All they do is train and work out and lift heavy things. They almost look like the action figure, but they're not quite there because your knees are only going to get so big, right? But they got very big shoulders, big head, everything, big arms, and they pick up boulders and they put them on top of stuff. And then sometimes they pull trucks. They have the chain and they pull it. And you can see that tire moving a little bit. You're like, he is moving it. Wow. You can watch it on ESPN too. That type of man. That man right there, he'll never turn around fast, but he can pick up a car. You touch him on the shoulder, it's going to be a while before he gets to you. But he could pick up a car, okay? He will never kill a fly. He's not going to be that quick with it. But if you need a donkey murdered by punching it in the face, he can get that. It's dead. That's one of the type of people that can pick up a car. The second type of person that can pick up a car is a mother whose baby is under the car. And even in that scenario, she can pick up the car because the part of her brain, out of concern for her child, that would normally say, girl, think about your joints, has shut off. It's not like she picks up the car, gets the baby out of the way, and is fine afterward. Her ligaments are shot. But she can do it. So unless, bro, you've been doing some exercises that we haven't seen, or there's a child under the tire that you care about very much, I don't think this is going to work. And he's like, you don't think I can do it? I was like, it's not about me. Your legs don't think you can do it. Your back doesn't think you can do it. Your glutes don't think you can do it. But he wanted to try. And so everybody got out of the car. Everybody got in a position. You know, one friend was there with a spare tire. Other friend was there getting ready to start unscrewing everything. I didn't have a job, so I just stood there, you know, as a witness to record, you know. And we know that there is a way to work out. We know if you want to lift, there's a way to do it correctly. You're trying to deadlift, try to squat, you get your legs shoulder width apart. You go ahead and make sure your knees stay in line with your feet so you're not buckling one way or the other. You go ahead and put your butt out when you're trying to pick it up. You keep your back neutral, keep your core engaged and everything. You lift it up, make sure your neck is neutral and stuff. We know all of these things. This man got in the weirdest position I've ever seen in my entire life. This man got, okay, so he got under the bumper like, okay. Y'all get it? We were like, no, it didn't move, because it's a car. How long did you think you were lifting it? What world are you in? And he's like, oh, you know what? That's my bad. No, I'm doing it wrong. I'm going to turn around. Turn around. You know that lift that's famous for being much easier, where they go to the Olympics and they put the bar behind them to pick it up. You know that thing that we've all seen before. This fool turned around, put his back to the car, like, okay. And then he had the nerve to be like, y'all ready? Y'all must have got it that time, right? And we're like, no, it didn't move because it's a car. You can feel yourself not moving it, right? And I knew he was hurt this time because he just wanted to walk off. but he was still in position. He was like, I'm done messing with y'all. Y'all not even serious. I can't believe it. Over here doing my job for me. That's right. Don't apologize. Let them think I earned those extra laughs. No, but the truth of the matter is that you have the same thing happening, you know? We kind of, I'm not saying we figured it out, but we kind of addressed it with the Barbian theory. And there's something that's like laid out all across the internet. And it's made me think about the question that I was asked. Who taught you to hate yourself? And I finally answered it in my own head. It's probably, whoever taught you to hate yourself is probably selling you something. That's all it is. We recognize it. We've learned to see it with women when it comes to makeup, when it comes to a certain fit, all that stuff. But with men, you don't see it called out in that same way. Because trust me, all these dudes, all these manosphere bros, all these red pill dudes, every single one of these guys is also selling a course. Oh, that's curious. I thought we were brothers and you wanted to help me get girls. Why are you selling me? Okay. And some of it, we have to remember, because all of these people, no matter who you're talking about, young boys, young girls, all these people are very young, they're very impressionable, and they're trying to get a sense of the world. And you can fill the lunchbox as best as possible. But one thing that's assured is that all of your best qualities will not just be passed down. I wish it was true. And you can fill that lunchbox with as many good things as possible. But it then is up to them, when they're with their friends, when they're by themselves, to actually look at what's been given to them and not just trade it for a bunch of junk. Because now you have parents who feel like out of nowhere they're meeting a new person, a person that they didn't raise. They hear these things being said that they never taught their kid, and they're like, where did this come from? And some of it, not all of it, but a good portion of it can be blamed on being online. I think it's a mistake to just say that it's online throughout. Just go ahead and throw away the phone. Don't let the kid get on the computer or anything, because the people posting these things are real people out in the world. So those ideas are running rampant in the world anyway. But I do think that it's in how algorithms are built. You know, you show genuine curiosity for one thing, and all they're trying to do as a company is hold your attention, keep you on the platform. So they see you choose one thing, so they send you more of that thing. And so it sends you down a rabbit hole. We always blame ourselves for falling down a rabbit hole, but it is what's served to us after we just watch one thing. You know, you watch one alpaca kick somebody in the chest. And then socials are sure, they're like, this must be his favorite thing. Let's go ahead and keep running them. You know? And I'm blessed that I am who I am. I was born when I was born. I have my own problems, my own worries and everything. The hardest life you're ever gonna have to live is your own, which is why I do my best not to judge anybody, because I think genuinely that if I had been born as them in a different time, I'd probably be just like them. You know, and so I truly believe that one of the it's so funny when somebody tries to start a clap, but y'all aren't like feeling it. It's like I don't say anything for claps, but every once in a while somebody feels moved to clap, but then they realize it's not like a everybody clap. Like No. I didn't want to, but I didn't. You know. Let me earn it. but the truth is that, like, when it's that easy, I think we have to look at these problems as interlinked, you know? Because people talk about incels, they talk about people who've taken the black pill, all that stuff like that. And you got to recognize truly that these like incels, whatever people end up calling them, they don't really hate women. They hate themselves. That's where all that comes from. And I can only imagine if I was a kid now and I came home and I got online and I typed in to Google or any platform, especially social, why would she eat my cookie but then kiss somebody else? I'm in for a world of trouble. I'm immediately, with one prompt, getting into some really bad stuff. Because I bet you, because the people online are not necessarily talking to anyone. They're speaking to their own experiences and broadcasting them, projecting them on other people in every situation. And so if I type that in, I'm not getting back the answer I would get from an adult that's like, hey, look, these things happen. Maybe this person knew that you liked them. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the same thing would have happened either way. I know that's hard to hear, but there are so many people in the world. There's billions of people in the world. There are more people in the world than you can count right now because you're not great at math. That's what, to me, I'm not acting like I'm an expert. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a sociologist. I haven't met every person. I don't know what everyone is going through. But to me, that's the key. That's what solves it. When people are like, what do we do? What do we do? You just stay in each other's lives as much as possible. You know? All of this missing stuff gets filled in by the internet because we aren't there to do it. And I don't just mean parents. I mean like real community. I mean everyone that you know. Do you tell the people in your life that you know that you love them all the time? Do you never let a day go by without the people in your life knowing and feeling like they're loved by you? It just takes you. It only takes you. And so when you have something like that happen, you type it, you come home, you're crying, you're like, why was she with the cookie and the kisses? I'm not likely to get someone who's going to give me a solid answer, an answer I can take to the rest of my life. You know? I'm probably going to get somebody coming on, big old shoulders, being like, that's right, that's what women do, they take cookies. And best believe, brother, she's coming for your cookie tomorrow. And next time she won't want half, she's gonna want the whole thing. That's why you gotta shut these women down before they get your cookie. If it even gets that specific. remember I was in college. College was the first time that, like a lot of people, that I was out of the house, and I was really out there by myself. I had to make all new friends. It was good for me though. I had to just get acquainted with a new environment, and I had never been somewhere where it was all up to me. Go to bed whenever you want, do whatever you want, eat whatever you want, right? As long as you're getting good grades, nobody really cares. As long as you're not causing a bunch of havoc, no one's going to say anything. And I made a friend when I was in college, and we had a conversation one night that was genuinely transformative, because when someone opens up, and I'm not trying to be particular here, but it's true. When someone opens up, especially a man that's never opened up before, what happens next in that moment is crucial. It's incredibly important. Mishandling that moment almost guarantees that not only will the wall go back up, it's going to have another layer of bricks. It's going to be even harder to break down. And we just got to talking. I don't even know who shared first, but he told me things. He told me about his anxiety, depression, his feeling, his lack of purpose, all the things that he thought that he was missing in the world, and everything that he thought he was not worth, and things he thought he would never get. And it was all just like coming out so earnestly. And so then I did the same. I told him things. I told him about my anxiety, my depression. I told him about everything that I was going through, how I felt about myself, how I felt about the world, the people around me. Like nothing would really matter if I was here or not, right? And we shared for a while. And then when it was over, we realized like we were the only people we had told these things to. Everything else we expected to just take to the grave, and we had just told it to each other because there was someone there to listen. And I know sometimes it can happen where like a man opens up to you and you don't know what to do. And so I'll give you one tip. If you really don't know what to say, if things are coming at you and they're things you would have never imagined coming out of this man's mouth, just hit him with a word. It won't fix everything, but it's a good placeholder. Because as men, sometimes word is all we really need. We're like, yep, you get it. See, you get it. But truly, we shared a lot, and in that moment, we didn't know what to do, so we just hugged it out. And don't get me wrong, it was a manly hug. You know, we tightened our arms around each other and we hit the pats. That's how you hug as a man. You go ahead with the. Watch the end of Top Gun Maverick. Both those men ready to cry, and they still I don't know what to do, so I gotta hit it. And it was a long hug because, once again, these are things we thought we would never be able to tell anybody else, and we're holding on to each other tight, and we're patting each other back hard. And I'm not proud of it. But eventually, I did burp. And what happens in the moment that a man opens up to you and you open up to another man is crucial. When I burped, I was like, no. I'm never opening up again, okay? What I look like? I just poured my soul out and I got burped by my boy? Never. No, we not on that. But I genuinely believe from the bottom of my heart, for every person, no matter how you feel, and some of that feeling is going to be advertisements shooting at you. Oh, you'll just be whole when you have this, when you get this. Someone trying to sell you something, trying to make you feel less so then you can be at least level after they give you their thing. But truly, I hope everyone can really hear this and understand this. If you are in the world You know, I remember when it was told to me for the first time, it also stuck with me. If you're part of the world, you must be worth the world. And I hope that everybody can feel that way, that you're really worth the world, because you're here. You know? And I think about it because there's a whole new generation of people coming up. They're dealing with something we've never had to deal with before. Like I think of Squish's kid. I was very nervous when Squish became a father because he has dropped everything I've ever seen him hold. He's one of the clumsiest mans. It's insane. But he is kind, and he is generous, and he has a good heart. And it'll be a better world if Squish's kid is like him. I hope that that's possible. I hope he can turn out just like his dad. It'll be a better world. It'll be a more haphazard world. Like it'll be a different type of dangerous, but